If my cat could talk, my cat could call himself a nutritionist, and then he would be a nutritionist. Yeah, it's terrifying. Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So a lot of things have happened since my last video. I got engaged. Also, I graduated finally, so I'm officially a nutritionist now, and I am working towards becoming a registered dietitian. So if you don't know what the difference between either of those are, that's what this video is about. Okay, we're all good. If you're confused why I was nervous about my chair holding me, go watch like the last 10 seconds of my last video. I think it was my last video. This video. So, yeah. So in honor of me finally graduating, I thought I would make a video about the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian. So currently I have my Bachelor's of Science in Nutrition with a concentration in dietetics. So with my degree, I'm now a nutritionist, but that dietetics concentration allows me to work towards becoming a registered dietitian. But over the years, I found a lot of people don't really know what a registered dietitian is, and they usually don't know that there's a difference. But there is a difference, and it's pretty big difference. Pretty important difference too. Also, just a side note, registered dietitian and registered dietitian nutritionist, they're the same thing. So I might be saying RD during the video or RDN, it's the same thing. So pretty much the biggest difference between a nutritionist and a registered dietitian is the educational background. There's really only one road to becoming a registered dietitian, but there are a lot of different ways you can become a nutritionist. And always remember, every dietitian is a nutritionist, but not every nutritionist is a dietitian. So there are about 5 to 6 steps that you have to take to becoming a registered dietitian. So first, you have to get your bachelor's in nutrition, and you have to be a part of an AS A accredited dietetics program. So you do have to have your master's, at least by 2024, all dietitians will have to have their master's. So the next step is a dietetic internship. This internship must also be AS A accredited. Also, fun fact, these internships, 90% of them are not paid. So you work full-time, you have homework outside of your internship, and you pay to do it. It's one of those. Great. And don't get me started on the process of getting matched to an internship. So the next step after you completed your bachelor's, master's, and internship, you can finally sit for the registered dietitian exam. And then sometimes your state might require you to go a little bit further and take a licensing exam. So not only do you have to take the registration exam, but also the licensing exam. And then the last step, which is step number 6 or 5, if you don't have to take that licensing exam, is continued education. You have to have so many hours of continued education. I don't remember all the details with that, but we'll get there when I'm there. I'm just not gonna worry about that right now. So the road to becoming a nutritionist. There are a lot of different ways. Step 1, call yourself a nutritionist. Like literally, if my cat could talk, my cat could call himself a nutritionist, and then he would be a nutritionist. Yeah, it's terrifying. That means there's a lot of people out there that could be calling themselves nutritionists that actually don't know anything about nutrition or health or the human body. And there's a chance that those people do not have your best interest. So it's really terrifying because the word and title nutritionist is not regulated. The other step to becoming a nutritionist would be getting a certification. There are a lot of different programs that you can get certified through, like NASM and other things like that. Some of these programs are good, some of them are not so good. I ended up not doing it because I realized it was kind of a waste for me because all of the things covered in that certification were things I already learned in my intro nutrition class. I'm not saying that people with those certifications aren't knowledgeable, because I definitely do think they are, but I think the term needs to be regulated much more strictly, and it's a whole thing. So the third way of becoming a nutritionist is getting your degree in nutrition, which is what I did, and it worked out great, even though it took an excessive amount of time. So as you can see, registered dietitians and nutritionists have a whole completely different background when it comes to education and qualification. So when it comes to a nutritionist, it's just hard to know who is actually qualified and who's not. So there are 3 main realms of nutrition that dietitians will work in, and there's community, food service, and clinical. So clinical would be something in like a hospital setting, long-term care facility, or a nursing home, and they might work with cancer, eating disorders, oncology, diabetes, maybe geriatric patients, kidneys, renal, pediatric, people who are obese, liver disease, endless things when it comes to that, because dietitians are very involved in disease states and helping to alleviate symptoms and kind of helping prevent the progression of diseases. So registered dietitians are considered healthcare workers and healthcare professionals. So in a clinical setting, a dietitian might be prescribing diets. They might be checking to see if you're malnourished. They'll check your skin, your nails, muscles, grip strength, so many things to kind of see if there's an underlying issue there that is nutrition related. They'll also be prescribing and writing up tube feeding regimens. And many registered dietitians now are actually able to get certified to be the ones who insert the tubes for tube feedings. Really, like a nurse. That's the best way I can think of to describe it. But you treat people with food, not medicine and needles. I hate needles. So there's also the food service area of nutrition. So this could be for a large corporation, maybe a school district, or again, nursing home, long-term care facilities, and things like that. Typically, the main job of dietitians in this area would be making the meals, and not making the meals because they're not a chef. Unless they are a chef, then I guess they could do that. But they're making meal plans and they're planning out the entire meals for this entire corporation and for all of these people. And if it's something like a rehab facility, they're having to take into consideration all of the issues that these rehab patients are dealing with. So maybe they can't have certain types of foods, or maybe the foods need to be softer, things like that. There's also community. So a lot of times this would be working in public health, or like for WIC, maybe working with poverty and nonprofit organizations. Now for nutritionists, the biggest thing that separates a nutritionist from a dietitian is that clinical aspect and the ability to apply medical nutrition therapy. Whereas a nutritionist can only really give you information on basic nutrition, and they don't have the qualifications to go deeper than that. So nutritionists are actually not qualified, and they're not supposed to prescribe or develop meal plans. Fun fact. However, unfortunately, a lot of nutritionists practice outside of what they're actually qualified to do. Which technically, you're not allowed to do that, but because it's not regulated enough, they can get away with it, which could be really dangerous for some people. Because a nutritionist may be like, go on keto if you have diabetes. Well, I actually talked to a dietitian, and a lot of her clients that have diabetes that have gone on keto, it's actually messed up their blood sugar and made it even worse than before they went on the diet. So it just can be scary. Some people could be practicing outside of what they're actually qualified to do, and it's kind of terrifying. Not everyone though, like not all nutritionists are bad. It's just a scary thing. So things a nutritionist can do. They can calculate your calorie needs, your macronutrient needs, so carbs, fat, protein. They can kind of give you an idea of what's recommended, what maybe you need more of, maybe less of, things like that. They can do a little bit with weight loss and weight gain. So nutritionists can go over the pros and cons of certain diets, things like that. So nutritionists can work for different corporations like WIC. They hire dietitians and they hire nutritionists, especially nutritionists working towards becoming registered dietitians. But it's really hard actually to get hired as a nutritionist because most places really want that extra qualifications and that educational background that a registered dietitian has. So like for me right now, I'm a nutritionist, but like there's not many options out there for me. So who do you trust and who do you go to? For me, I think when in doubt, go to a dietitian. If you have any type of chronic illness or disease or something a little more serious, go to a dietitian. But if you just want some help shaping up, getting fit, you can go to a nutritionist. Ultimately, you can go to whoever you want, but that would be my advice. None of this means though that nutritionists are not knowledgeable in their area, and it doesn't mean that, you know, all nutritionists should pay and like should be punished for practicing. Like, I don't believe that at all. I think there's some really, really phenomenal nutritionists out there. I just really would like for it to be a regulated term, kind of weed out those nutritionists that aren't as knowledgeable and really just want your money. Now, pros and cons. Nutritionists, maybe. They might be cheaper. They also might not. Registered dietitians, probably not cheaper. However, your insurance is more likely to pay for a meeting with a registered dietitian dietitian than a nutritionist because dietitians are considered healthcare workers and professionals. And they've proven themselves to be qualified and trustworthy. It's just important to know who you're talking to, what background they have, and what they're actually qualified to do. And I believe the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is working towards regulating the term nutritionist, but I'm not really sure how well they're progressing with that. And I think it's just really important to be aware that there is a difference. So if you do choose to see a nutritionist, find someone that's credible and reliable and trustworthy and knowledgeable, and just be aware and be cautious and make sure it's not someone that is going to give you advice that does more harm than good. Most cases, I'd say go to a dietitian, but I don't discredit a nutritionist. So I believe in dietitians so much that even though I'm a nutritionist and I've been studying nutrition for the past 4 to 6-ish years, I actually went and saw a dietitian for some health issues that I was having, and I will be talking about that in the next few videos. So stay tuned and you can hear about my experience. You can hear a little bit about some other things that I did to help my health, especially with inflammation. Y'all, I lost like 15 pounds without trying because I was so inflamed. It's just crazy. But that's a whole story for another day. Just keep a lookout for my next video. It will be posted next Friday at 12 o'clock at noon, not midnight. I should probably clarify that. Noon, 12 o'clock next Friday. If you like this video or if you learned something, click the like button, subscribe for more videos, click the bell to get notified, especially when I post my next video, which again, next Friday at noon. And leave a comment. Did you know that there's a difference between nutritionists and dietitians? Have you ever seen a dietitian or nutritionist? What was your experience? Maybe someone else is struggling out there with the same nutritional struggles as you or health issues as you, and maybe you saw a nutritionist or dietitian and it did or did not help. So I will see y'all in my next video. Bye! Ooh, I was about to swing and cover the camera, but that didn't work out last time. That was a bad idea. So I'm gonna get up smoothly and say bye. Freaking ouch. Ugh, ouch. I hate everything. That really hurt. Okay, next video, I'm not sitting in my hammock chair. I'm done. That really hurt my head that time. And my toe.